Well, Leandro Trossard outshines Mudryk. This is a start that is going to have to be put out there by a very credible source that all of you will obviously believe in, because this source is one of those that is going to have to be put out by the world, and it's beyond criticism because they obviously do this with facts. And Mudryk has gone ahead to depreciate, and obviously Leandro Trossard has gone ahead to appreciate into the game of football. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys, and where you watching us from? I go by the name of Rokani David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If I told you you're watching us for the very first time, and never to subscribe, and if I told you're watching us for the if I told you've been watching us always and you've not yet subscribed, subscribe and hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. I come here to obviously bring you the best of news that is going to happen in the world as far as your football teams are really concerned, apart from Man United, because for Man United, you know what we do. We obviously put some of those stories onto we almost put some of those stories onto our United. I'm talking about Man United. For Man United, United Matters channel is the niche where you find us, and here we bring you the news. This is the football news show. We are talking Erling Haaland, talking about how he is planning to win the Ballon d'Or, and obviously we are talking this player was so much linked to Arsenal. He was at Arsenal, sorry, he was at Man City, and that is Ferran Torres. Obviously some big stories coming in for him. Now let's start it off with a story coming in from one of the biggest sources that obviously go ahead and obviously rate players, and they name their worth and obviously their worth. Now the CIES has gone ahead and told us that Leandro Trossard's value is now absolutely equal to Mudryk's £25 million, despite the massive gap in valuation in January. To remember that Mudryk was worth £86 million, and that's the amount of money that Chelsea paid for him, and Arsenal pulled out of that race because they felt outpriced. Then Leandro Trossard was bought £27 million. You know that very well. It doesn't need any further explanation about Leandro Trossard and how much Arsenal bought him. Arsenal paid £22 million plus £5 million of add-ons, and it looks like the CIES is telling us that, guys, look through this. It's more than what you think. It's even beyond what your expectations are about these players, because Leandro Trossard has gone ahead and obviously outshine Mudryk in very many ways. I think Mudryk, in the entirety of last season, that the games played for Chelsea, he only had one assist. The goal that he scored was obviously cancelled because he was offside. That is it. So we look at Mudryk last season. He had 2 assists in 15 games, and this season is going to hit play 3 games and 0 assists. But last season, Leandro Trossard, had 10 assists at Arsenal. That is it. And 1 goal. Those are 11 goal involvements in one goal in just 20 games. It shows you how different he was into that entire season, and it shows you the levels at which he's obviously going in through, because remember, this season, as they started off with Man City in the Community Shield, guess who comes off the bench to obviously win it, to obviously force it into the penalties? That is Leandro Trossard. Hits that ball, deflects off a Kanji into the back of the net to make it 1-1, and Arsenal went into penalties and obviously won that Community Shield. When you look at Leandro Trossard, obviously his output is better than Mudryk, and according to the story that really came out of Chelsea towards the end of the transfer window that was concluded on the 1st of this month, that Chelsea were willing to put Mudryk as a make weight to gate Emile Smith-Rowe at Chelsea. That swap was really thought about, meaning that Pochettino has not been convinced by Mudryk that he can reach the levels that he is being valued at. And it shows you exactly how Shakhtar never really played a very vital role into the development of the player. Because if at all they believe that's going to win the Ballon d'Or, why did they obviously accept the clauses of Arsenal that they put up in the deal? Because what really failed the deal of Mudryk to go to Arsenal was all about the payment plans of the add-ons. That is it. That's why Chelsea came in through, and they even promised them to obviously give them a match at Stamford Bridge. And the pressure is really immense on the player. I don't know whether they're going to succumb to the pressure, but all I know is that it's not good for this player. And for Leandro Trossard, he's obviously thriving at Arsenal, and is a different kind of player altogether. You all know what he brings to that Arsenal side when obviously plays. And he also came out and said that he knows that when they come from the national break, they are obviously going to get enough. He's obviously going to get enough playing time because there is the Carabao Cup, Champions League, and the Premier League, meaning that Arsenal is going to be playing 2 games every week, meaning that the manager needs to make rotations. And Trossard is 100% sure that at least he's going to do the needful at Arsenal. But my worry is all about Emily Smith-Rowe. If Emily Smith-Rowe kicks into his form, will Trossard obviously be looked at that player at Arsenal like he's really so much pivotal to that team? Because Arteta loves Emily Smith-Rowe a lot, but Emily Smith-Rowe has not yet gone ahead to pick up to meet the standards where he obviously sees him at, and that obviously places some question marks, because when we look at Reece Nelson, looks like he's even ahead of Emily Smith-Rowe and Leandro Trossard when it comes to the left attack instead of the midfield. Is Arteta favoring these players from the academy more than the likes of Leandro Trossard? Because for me, I believe Leandro Trossard in the game of Man United versus Arsenal would have been the best candidate to come in through and obviously play into that fixture. But Reece Nelson was brought on the field of play, and no one went ahead to criticize that because Arsenal went ahead to obviously win. But if at all Arsenal really dropped points, they would have gone ahead to question in what spirit did Mikel Arteta front, hear me out, in what spirit did Mikel Arteta front Reece Nelson ahead of Leandro Trossard? Because Leandro Trossard was all Arsenal needed to obviously unlock that defense of Man United. But because Arsenal won, no Arsenal fan is going to look at that. But in no way I see Reece Nelson go ahead into that pitch ahead of Leandro Trossard. Even others would have gone ahead to ask, why would Bukayo Saka play all those minutes? Because he did nothing in that entire game. Though some Arsenal fans disagree with me, but however much brought that corner that resulted into that goal, but that was around the 95 minutes, meaning that in the entire 90 he did nothing. Yet if I thought it was Trossard, would have gone ahead to bring his composure and build up play into that midfield. And I just want to see Trossard playing onto that right side when the likes of Odegaard are obviously partnering with him and Gabriel Jesus leading the line, and see how much chemistry can be manufactured in between those people as they obviously put up their passes together. So that's it. Trossard has gone ahead to outshine Mudryk, and that is coming in from a very credible rating site that now Mudryk has gone ahead to depreciate to £25 million for a player who came in at 86, losing close to £60 million. That is really a lot of depreciation, but it shows you how Chelsea are really spending for fun, not for obviously building a team that is obviously going to be there for a very, very long time. So that is it coming in from the CIES that obviously rates these players, and I don't know whether you agree with us or not, but this is evident. Trossard has gone ahead to outshine this guy. Now, Ferran Torres missed out onto the Spanish national team call-up, and today he's really over the moon because lots of things have gone ahead to happen in his favor. And today a story has been broken up by Ferran Martinez. He works for Mundo Deportivo, and he confirmed to us that Ferran Torres has been called up by Spain to replace Dani Olmo and Marco Asensio, who finished the games versus Georgia with discomfort. Ferran will travel today. So Ferran Torres, obviously he's one of those people that are going to have to drop into the pecking order. Ever since Man City signed him, I think, from Valencia, they brought him in. He has suffered for playing time at Man City, felt like he was not being embraced, and he went to Barcelona. But even at Barcelona, obviously things are not working out as supposed to be working out, because he's obviously suffering from lack of playing time. That's why you see to it that even this is it, Lawal, the 16-year-old player of Barcelona, went ahead to be into that squad of the Spanish national team and really scored his goal on his first goal in his debut. I think when they beat a team yesterday by 7-1, and Ferran Torres was not there. So Ferran Torres has gotten a chance to be recalled at the national team of Spain to obviously try to figure out the possibilities of obviously taking him to where he deserves to be. But I think he should find his steps right. That is it. He should find his steps right. You know, he should rediscover his boots very soon, because that Dani Olmo is ahead of him. Because we look at Dani Olmo and Marc Asensio is playing a very pivotal role at PSG. Dani Olmo at RB Leipzig, he's really playing a very pivotal role, and that means he needs obviously put in a lot to get that playing time at Barcelona, but something that's not going to happen for him. So Barcelona spent close to 50 million euros buying him from Man City to Barcelona, but obviously he's not that prospect that they really went ahead to sign for. So we wait and see how that pans out, but it's really one of those things that doesn't really give you hope for this player. Even though he's in, I don't see his role, because Lawal is there, there is Ansu Fati, Pedri, Gavi, you know, there is Nicolas, so Pino, very many players needs to go past, and I think he just needs to find himself getting a loan, maybe back to Valencia to rediscover his talent, and he's lost confidence. Now, amongst the list of Ballon that was really released, I think around, it was Thursday, I brought it to you here on this channel, and I told you that even Erling Haaland is among those players nominated. Now, during his national duty with Netherlands, he was asked about the Ballon d'Or, and this is what he said: "I trust myself. I know I can improve a lot, and I'm still young, but I think I have a chance this year." Mr. Haaland, I know you are doing this for the media sense, but deep inside your heart, you know it, that there is no way a Champions League winner will beat a World Cup winner. That is it. And because this is obviously one of those moments where you're going to find yourself in a situation of really the entire media fraternity bidding farewell to Lionel Messi on a big stage, on the grand stage of the game, there is no way it's going to go to Haaland. No way. No way. According to the way Messi won the World Cup, though Louis van Gaal came out and said that he stole it, it was obviously planned for Messi to take it, something that was not even acceptable, because it's not him who told Virgil van Dijk to miss a penalty when Netherlands and Argentina went into the penalties. That is it. So all that doesn't count, and it's pure discretion, you know, for a man whom I've seen talk football and being one of the football professors I've seen, coming out and put out such a statement. That is very, very weird of him. But for Erling Haaland, the chance of him to win is 10%. I never say never. Anything can happen. They can hand it over to this guy, Haaland. But according to what happened in the World Cup of 2022, there is no way I see him really taking it. And you remember that in 2010, Messi just won a treble with Barcelona, and he never won a World Cup, you know? And they obviously went ahead to really force it to him, you know, after Iniesta and Xavi, who had even lifted the World Cup and gone ahead to win the Champions League with Messi, and they gave it to Messi. So it shows you that these Ballon d'Or guys just love Messi, and when time comes and he's going ahead to really achieve his biggest dream, then he has to win it. You see, last Ballon d'Or, it went to Lionel Messi, you know, and Lionel Messi had just won is it called, what is the name of that South American tournament? He won it, and after winning it, they gave it to him. Now, what of him winning the World Cup? Obviously, that is in a glass, you know. It's obviously seen everywhere that this is going to Lionel Messi and going to nobody else. So that is it. So tell me your thoughts about Leandro Trossard outshining Mudryk into the comment section below. What do you make about Haaland and his Ballon d'Or hopes, you know. And lastly, Ferran Torres. What do you make about him? Don't you think that his career is really having a very huge question mark and needs to rediscover himself in time? All that and more in the conversation below. I cover it all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. I'm the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokani David remains my name. I'm out.